Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Wednesday, December 20th, and we are here answering your financial questions. If you have one, all you need to do is go to our website. It's JillOnMoney.com. I think you know that by now, but just in case you're a new listener, I'm here to let you know that all of our content lives on that website at JillOnMoney.com. That means if you're looking for the free weekly newsletter, you want to subscribe to that, you can find it at JillOnMoney.com. If you are seeking the blog, if you want to check out resources, if you want to check out our new video show, Jill on Money, powered by The Compound, that's on the website. All of it lives there. So anything, anytime, anything you want that is Jill on Money, check out the website, maybe bookmark it. And of course, whenever you have a financial question, all you have to do is click the Contact Us button. It's just that easy. Today, we are talking to Jake, who's on the line from Pennsylvania.
I am just kind of looking ahead and trying to demystify a few things that will be happening in the next few years. My wife and I are 57, and we're hoping to have options in 2 to 3 years where we either stop working altogether or maybe scale down. And a couple of the things that I'm trying to get a grasp on is how will we handle health insurance as early retirees, as well as looking at how we might best use our retirement assets to support this early retirement.
Tell us a little bit about what's up. In other words, how much money do you make now? How much money do you think you're going to need? And how much money have you saved? So let's start with how much do you earn now between the two of you?
So right now, my wife is working and I am not. Her salary is $90,000. She has opportunity for bonus. I am looking for work at the moment, actually trying to find meaningful part-time work. That would be my preference. Early days on that.
If you look at her $90,000 actual salary, can you pay your bills based on that amount of money?
Yes, we can. We're doing that, and also able to continue to make retirement contributions. We occasionally do have to dip a little bit into our emergency/reserves fund to pay some bills, but that's really only because we are continuing to fully fund her Roth 401k and our Roth IRAs, respectively, during this period of single income.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those assets right now. So your retirement assets are totaled about how much?
So between the two of us, we've got about $2.4 million. And the way that breaks down is $1.4 million is in tax-deferred funds and $1 million in various Roth accounts.
How much is in that emergency reserve fund right now?
$120,000.
And you own your home?
We do, and we have no mortgage, no debt.
Do you have a sense right now that what it would take for you to actually just pay your general bills? And you said you're contributing out of that $90,000. You pay the tax that's due. You make contributions to your retirement accounts. But do you know what your actual nut is? Is it something like 50 or 60 grand a year? What is it? Do you think?
I do know. When I've looked forward at retirement years, I'm kind of thinking that we'll need around $72,000 net income to support some of the things we want to do, such as travel.
Will either of you be entitled to a pension?
My wife will. She has to begin taking at age 65, and that's our plan. And that would be about $26,000 per year. And I'm quite certain it's not adjusted for inflation.
But still nice, right?
It is. Yeah, it's definitely a benefit from a job that she had for a really long time. And Hannah kind of suffered through some of that. So she left with something good.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, though, like if you think about this, if you look at, say, age 65, you'll have the pension and then you'll have both have Social Security.
Yeah, our plan with that is to defer to age 70 to maximize that benefit. So we kind of have these interesting periods of pre-65 and then between 65 and 70, various stages with both income and other requirements.
You sound like you're the kind of guy who's run all of your numbers. So I'm just guessing that the retirement numbers look fine, correct?
Yeah, I've run them. And then also we do have an advisor. My career was in nonprofits, and I was fortunate with 3 employers over about 28 years to have TIAA as my retirement plan. So we continue to work with a TIAA advisor, and according to them, in addition to my own analysis, the numbers do look good from a retirement perspective.
So let's talk about these different chunks of time. Essentially 59 and a half, you both are going to call it quits. Is that right? Or do you think you'll have some income? I'm just trying to look at this period between, say, 60 and 65, the income that is coming in. Will there be any income between 60 and 65?
Yeah, I'm going with the model of no. If that changes, if there's some kind of part-time income, fine, but I'd rather go with the most demanding of situations.
And is it your intention to take the money out of the traditional, what's now $1.4 million of tradition? You're going to pull money out of that account, or those accounts rather, in order to get that 70 grand that you need?
Yes.
Okay. Why am I asking all these annoying questions? Because I am trying to figure out if you go into the Affordable Care Act, which is, what I think most people would be looking to do. Obviously, it's sort of like maybe the lowest bar of entry. And then I'm also trying to see what is the amount of money you have to earn that entitles you to some premium adjustments or credits. And it does appear to me that if you guys are making income of, I don't know, let's say you pull the money out and it's $80,000 or $77,000, it looks to me like the maximum that you would be paying for your healthcare coverage. This is for a family of four, but I think that, essentially for a couple, it would be about right. I think the most you end up paying is, let's say, $7,500, $8,000 for this. Maybe it'll be $10,000 if you want like the super duper plan. So when you told me net income of $72,000, were you including an extra $10,000 for the cost of healthcare?
I was not.
So I think that what you need to do is just make that adjustment in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of things. Obviously, if you can keep working and have access to healthcare in some way, shape, or form, even if it's like some part-time, that would help. But you can see that this starts to really change the calculus. I think you can probably do this. You're going to drain some money out of your accounts for 5 years, and it's like real money, because you're going to end up having to take out of these traditional accounts. You're going to have to take like $100,000 out in order to net what you need. Probably a little more even, because you're going to have to pay for your trips and pay for your life, and you're going to have to also pay for your health insurance, right? So you're going to be taking out just, off the top of your head, just think about this for, those 5 years, $100,000 at least out of the 1.4 that's in traditional. So a couple of things, implications there. One is that you have to have the money invested, or you have to have that money that you need for each year in cash, because you can't afford to be playing around with where the market is. So whatever the number is we kind of come up with, maybe it's 110, maybe it's 100, whatever, you're going to have that money set aside. And the rest of the portfolio for those 5 years, it can't be so aggressive. You can take some risk in the Roths, but not in the traditional. Because you're only a couple of years away, I'm not entirely sure you need to be making all these retirement contributions right now. And to some extent, I think it would probably be better for you to beef up your emergency reserve. Assuming you make no income, I think you're going to want a larger emergency reserve fund. And then, once you get to 65, obviously you go on Medicare and you have the pension income, so you don't need to take so much money out. But again, I would like you guys to be focusing on pulling money out of the traditional accounts, because you'll be in a low tax bracket and you're not going to be claiming Social Security yet. And we do want to drive down your required minimum distributions as much as possible as you start claiming Social Security at age 70.
Yeah, that's in alignment with probably the top scenario and plan that I'd kind of figured out for myself. And my calculus showed that I need $110,000 annually for that period from the pre-tax money to get to a $72,000 net for spending. And it includes the cost of healthcare at essentially full market price.
Right. So, I mean, look, I think it's you can do it. I'm going to ask a dumb question. Is she miserable at work?
No, she was. She's in a good job now.
So why is she going to quit in 2 years?
Well, it's not a certainty, but we've been trying to set ourselves up for options.
Okay, I like options, but I don't like that we have to like set something up and be like, okay, we have to now implement the plan. Every year she continues to work is a year that you don't have to pay for health insurance.
Exactly. And one other thought I had more recently was, even when she does quit, we may look at what's the cost of COBRA for the first 18 months, because that may be competitive and it's a really good plan. So that might be a way to kind of stretch that period where we're able to have good health insurance and maybe at a more reasonable cost.
Yeah, it's a funny balancing act that you're in right now because
Exactly.
I kind of want to limit the required minimum distribution. On the other hand, it would be great if you could actually qualify for a tax credit associated with the Affordable Care Act. And we just don't know. I mean, I guess that we have to be flexible on that, but that's the balancing act. I think, in your head, you probably know that, but I think that that's really what you got to balance. And more often than not, at least from, boring old Jill's perspective, the longer you work, the better the plan is. And as long as, you or your wife, as long as you are modestly happy in what you're doing, and maybe you will get part-time, gosh, I mean, it really is tough to go from 90 grand to zero. It is. And you're putting a little bit more pressure on yourselves maybe than you need.
Yeah, I like one of the ideas you brought up of maybe at present, rather than putting as much as we are into these different Roth buckets, to maybe beef up cash reserves.
Yeah.
An alternative to that, you'll probably say this is not wise because of the risk, is to also consider a taxable brokerage account.
I would do a taxable brokerage account if you guys talked about this call and said, you know what, it's not 60, it's 62.
Mm-hmm.
If you give me a few more years, then absolutely agree. Then I think taking on a little bit more risk makes sense. But if it's really 2 years, if it's the real 2 years, then it's cash. All right, I know you're in the big time holiday rush, but sometimes things come up. Sometimes when you're with your family, it kind of jogs your mind. You think about estate planning, you're thinking about other aspects, you learn new information. Whatever it is, we're here for you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we would be happy to answer that question or get you on the air, either via audio or via video, whatever your pleasure. Everything at JillOnMoney.com. Don't forget that you can subscribe to this program, Jill on Money, on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Try to do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.